Well, and joining us now is our London Bureau Chief, Mandy Clark, from London. And Mandy, thanks very much indeed for joining us this evening. Now, firstly, there's a long list of contenders for who will be the next Prime Minister of UK, but prominent among those, of course, being Boris Johnson.
Of course, yeah, there's some names that kind of are internationally famous. That's Boris Johnson. Many people might remember Michael Gove. He was kind of very much seen as the snake last time. And when Theresa May was running to take over David Cameron, Michael Gove said he'd back Boris Johnson. At the last moment, he said he wouldn't back him and decided to run himself, but he couldn't find any backing. So there is some bad blood between those two. Certainly, Boris Johnson felt betrayed by Michael Gove, and people really haven't forgot about that incident. So there's a lot of heavy hitters that are going for the position, but there's some unknowns as well. There's 11 people vying for this position. Not all of them are going to necessarily put their name forward, and they need at least 8 other MPs to back them. So round one, we might see quite a few people there, but as the rounds go, you need more and more support, and it seems that we'll have less and less contenders. So by the end of next week, there'll be a lot fewer candidates. We'll have a much clearer race, but certainly you can expect big names like Boris Johnson to be in the candidature for a fairly long time.
Right, and Mandy, of course, what happens to Theresa May now? She, of course, will continue as the lame duck Prime Minister for a couple of weeks until the next leader is chosen. But more about her own legacy now. She was, of course, the second woman Prime Minister for UK, only after Maggie Thatcher. And this, of course, is a big blow for her, personally.
Enormous blow. She wanted this post all her life. She got a very difficult premiership, which was absolutely, you had to succeed in Brexit. Her approach wasn't the right approach, but it was an incredibly difficult hand she was given. It's also said that she didn't play that hand very well. So her premiership will be always intertwined with her failure of Brexit, which is a pity because she was actually quite passionate about many domestic issues, about injustice among certain classes. She certainly wanted more children to have access to education, good education, but all those domestic agenda issues completely pushed aside because all that mattered during her time in office was Brexit, delivering a Brexit, and that was something she just couldn't do.
Absolutely, Mandy. Thanks very much indeed for joining us with the latest. And of course, that would certainly be the end of Theresa May's term as Prime Minister, which was all about Brexit and nothing else. And let's see who the next Prime Minister of UK will be. Well, let's move on now to other news. And Prime Minister Modi, of course, leaves on Saturday for the 2-day visit to Sri Lanka While the Maldives, the focus is on strengthening ties with the Soli government. With Sri Lanka, it is to send a message of solidarity in the aftermath of the 21st April terror attacks. And our principal diplomatic correspondent, Siddhant Sibal, gives you the details of what to expect.
In his first visit abroad after taking charge for a second term, Prime Minister Modi will be visiting Maldives and Sri Lanka. It is after 8 years that an Indian Prime Minister will be on a state visit to the Maldives. The last was by Manmohan Singh in 2011. During the visit, Prime Minister will address the Maldivian Parliament, the Majlis, and meet the top leadership. In the last 8 months, since the new government led by President Solih took charge in November last year, there have been a number of high-level visits, including by the President of Maldives, Foreign Minister Abdullah Shahid, and Defence Minister Maria Ahmed Didi.
The Prime Minister's visit is essentially focused on 3 objectives. Firstly, it is to maintain contacts at the highest level between close neighbours. Secondly, we want to assist the Maldives as their development partner in the revival and development of their economy. And thirdly, of course, is to strengthen the people-to-people relationship we have with the Maldives.
For strengthening defence partnership, both Prime Minister Modi and President Solih will jointly inaugurate 2 defence-related projects. One is the Coastal Surveillance Radar System that will help Mali preserve its sovereignty in the EEZ, or the Exclusive Economic Zone. And another will be a composite training centre for Maldives' National Defence Forces. The total value of the 2 projects is $180 crore.
Well, it's a very historic visit. So all preparations are in place. It's a big honor for us that Prime Minister's visit is being accorded the status of a state visit. And that is the status which is usually reserved for visits by heads of state. In our case, they made an exception.
On cricket, the Maldivian side is keen to have its own cricket team and a cricket stadium and asked for Indian assistance. India has given cricket kits and is expected to coach Maldivian cricketers. India had sent a team of BCCI in May. And finally, on connectivity, India is planning to start a ferry service from Kochi in Kerala to the Maldives, which the Foreign Secretary said will significantly enhance connectivity. India is also working on 14 high-impact community projects which involves connectivity within the island and speedboats for Maldivian students. On 9th June, Prime Minister will mark a short and packed visit to Sri Lanka while coming back from the Maldives. This visit is being described as a visit to show solidarity with the people of Sri Lanka.
I would sum up this visit to Sri Lanka as firstly showing solidarity with the people and the government in the wake of the tragic events of the 21st of April and expressing our confidence in the government of Sri Lanka in overcoming this national tragedy.
Prime Minister will be the first foreign leader to visit Sri Lanka after the 21st April terror attacks that killed more than 250 people. Sri Lankan President Maithripala Sirisena had visited India last week for the oath-taking ceremony of Prime Minister Modi for his second term. Modi visited Sri Lanka twice in his first term, first in March 2015 when he travelled to Anuradhapura, Dalaimannar and Jaffna, and then in 2017 when he was the chief guest at the Vesak Day celebrations.
The visit by Prime Minister Narendra Modi to Maldives and Sri Lanka sends out a clear message that for New Delhi, neighbourhood first will be the top priority for the next 5 years. While in Maldives, focus will be on defence, cricket and connectivity. In Sri Lanka, India will be sending a strong message of solidarity for the people and the government of Sri Lanka in the aftermath of the 21st April terror attack, which killed more than 250 people. With video journalist Bala Siddhant Sibbal for WION in New Delhi.